It wasn't Sheriff Jackson. It's the sheriff's department is on Jackson Street. Now, obviously, words and numbers, they don't come together right when I'm overwhelmed. The more overwhelmed I am, the more likely I am to get names wrong. I might accidentally say Mandy Singer when I mean Mandy Hughes. I might say Mandy Hughes when I mean Mandy Singer. I've said Sarah Nelson when I meant Laura Nelson. I've said Laura Nelson when I meant Sarah Nelson. I've said Missy Bruce when I meant Missy Johnson. The more names there are, the more names I have to try to remember. Now, where's your money going? All this money you claim is going to us for programs to help us. How many times have I filled out the housing paperwork? How many times have we gone through this in the last 7 years? Not once have any of these pieces of shit helped me to turn any of the goddamn crimes. Every single one of them has tried to talk over me so they don't know any details. And even the details that we are certain that they were in the room for. You can hear me saying the things that I'm claiming I'm saying. You can hear it with your own ears. You can hear their response, showing that they're in the same room. They're in the vicinity. They're hearing the words. And then 5 seconds later, it all vanishes. Like they got temporary goddamn amnesia that's lifelong and permanent. People tend to forget stuff when it's convenient. $100 million. That's what a sheriff who was elected out in 2017. 2017, the year Natalie was killed, had cost them over $100 million. $100 million. Imagine how many homeless shelters you could open and keep open for how many years on that much money. But what do we get? We get the city of Boulder asking for an emergency $15 million to deal with the homeless issue. Where does that go? They're already accepting funds that were created for other programs. We haven't had any actual battered women's shelter in America since the 90s. Every single one of them were turned over to the sheriff's departments. See, it used to be that the sheriff's department had access to a list of safe houses that they could take people to. When they turned over all the safe houses and cut out private ownership of the safe houses, that's what most of it was. You get a woman who grew up getting beaten and raped by her dad. Her mother is beaten to death by her dad. She grows up in the system because of that. She gets out of the system, gets herself a husband, gets herself a house, and then they decide that they're going to go through the training program so they can become a safe house. They didn't call them battered women's shelters. They called them safe houses. That's what it was. We called them battered women's shelters. Have you tried going to the battered women's shelter? Well, they call it a safe house. And if they don't like you, they'll pretend they don't know what a battered women's shelter is. They'll change the terminology and the words, and they will play fucking head games with you to their heart's content. Because here's how it goes. Just like with Boho and Paths to Home and 7 other programs started by the homeless, just like these battered women's shelters were primarily started by battered women. Well, all of it was handed over to the sheriff's department. They handed over the battered women's shelters in the late 80s and early 90s. And by the late 90s, all of them had been phased out. Boho was started after the 90s, otherwise they would have tried to make it a package deal and given it all to the sheriff's department at one time. $11.5 million annually Boulder is given because they still have registered safe houses, at least 2 of which are no longer there. It's an empty fucking field. There's literally nothing there. But they get $11.5 million a year appropriated to them for running and managing these safe houses that are all shut down. They're all closed. If you weren't willing to hand your house over to the sheriff's department, you didn't get to stay on their registry to be a safe house. Not that it mattered. Within 5 years of getting it, every sheriff's department in America had shut them all down. Sidney, Nebraska, Chapel, Nebraska, Scottsbluff, Nebraska, Longmont, Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, Denver, Colorado, Lyons, Colorado, Bremerton, Washington, King County, Washington, the entire county, Huntington Beach, California. All of them shut down. Same as they did with the homeless shelters. Boho, started by homeless people, working together with the churches. What destroyed it? Handing it over to the sheriff's department. They make a living off of victimizing us. What the fuck were you thinking, handing Nazis keys to every Jew's house? That's what you've done. Adolf Hitler didn't go after the Jews first. He went after the disabled, the mentally ill. And number one, before anyone else, the homeless. Because the homeless are hated worldwide. You either man up to the status quo, or they'll make sure that you live a life of woe. Oh, what the fuck is going on here? I didn't follow a bunch of nutsacks into a bunch of stupid endeavors for selfish and meaningless gains? You want to tell me about the soldiers sacrificed on the altar of freedom? What freedom? Just because you're not locked up in prison, then you're free, right? Well, there's plenty of people in a lot of different nations that are not in prison. Matter of fact, good luck finding even one country on the planet that has every single citizen locked up in prison. You want to use that as a measure of right and wrong? No. 81% of those incarcerated were homeless when arrested. 81%. We got counties like Arapahoe County, Colorado, 98% conviction rate. They say 97%, like that 1% makes a difference, but it's 97.89 blah, 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 blah into the... Come on now. What's that conviction rate from? Is that because the police go and arrest a bunch of guilty people? No, it's because if they arrest a homeless person when they don't want to find out who actually committed the crime, any fucking homeless person at random will work. The public pretender isn't going to give a shit. The judge isn't going to give a shit. Nobody's going to give a holy fuck about the law. It's a goddamn racket, and every American knows it. And every American knows they can take their bullshit on a homeless person anytime they choose. Your daddy raped you this morning, but you got to be afraid to turn him in because you don't want your little brother and little sister going into foster care? You don't want your dad to get arrested because your mom for certainly will not be able to pay the bills without his income? Well, who are you going to take it out on? Obviously, not the good-looking hobo who's giving you your heroin. No, it's going to be the guy out here who doesn't mess with nothing. When you get busted with your heroin, are you going to turn in your heroin dealer? Fuck no, you're not. That'd cut all your friends out of their dealer too, and they ain't going to be happy with you, and you fucking know it. So you sell out an innocent hobo and let him take the fall. You let him take the abuse. Or you pull one of those Karens on him. Oh my God, he looked at me, he's rapey. Oh my God. I got to encounter one of those women over here at grocery outlet the other day. She was walking out of the grocery outlet and she had two little girls with her. And they were asking about what happened to my car, and the ginormous behemoth of a woman who was with them started giving the whole speech about if you don't go to work, if you're lazy. Fuck you. Fuck you. Do you know why I'm homeless? No, you just assume. And then you teach your kids that shit. You fuck. Just like you taught them when that boy hits her. Or when that girl hits your little boy. She did it because she likes him. You've taught that little girl that it's okay to hit people. And you've taught that little boy that being hit means they like you. You call me fucking crazy. So we got 7 different committees in Boulder to oversee different programs that are apportioned, well, a certain number of millions of dollars per year. Each one of these things has at least 3 CEOs in charge of it, getting paid $100,000 per year or more to decide what to do with homeless people's money. Money that is supposed to be going to help us is going to treatment. We're victimized. How about you do something about the predators who victimize us instead of trying to put us into perpetual, lifelong treatment for not a goddamn bit of gain? It wastes our time and it stresses us the fuck out. And you make it as stressful as humanly fucking possible. Same with the 988 line and suicide hotline and the Oregon Lifeline. We work together or we get nothing. That's the moral of the story. You all should have expected, every one of you homeless people who wanted to talk about how Sammy Leon Lawrence IV and Zayd Atkinson are going to fight for our rights. Both of those bitches lived in houses. That's the only reason anyone gave a fuck about him. Did anybody give 2 shits about Brian Townsend when he was beaten with a fucking flashlight? He's black too. He was in Boulder County too. Oh yeah, but he was a real hobo. None of the real hobos got any sort of satisfaction because the American public blames everything on hobos. Everything is homeless people's fault. It's these hobo freeloaders. Couldn't have anything to do with all the women that we have getting free college while they're strung out on fucking drugs just because they had unprotected sex. And that is what it comes down to. We are supposed to feel bad for the woman and the kids. In most cases, we have no reason to feel bad for the woman. Other than social conditioning. We're taught that we're supposed to. That's what we're supposed to do. If we don't do that, then we're not men. And then there's the us girls got to stick together. When a woman does fucked up shit to a man, she just goes crying wolf to a bunch of women. And those women will go crying wolf to their boyfriends and husbands and brothers and daddies and sons. For a woman, destroying a man's life to the point that he commits suicide is easy. And as men, we're not supposed to have emotions or show emotions or feel anything at all. If we do, we are horrible monsters. If a woman plays victim and exhibits behaviors like that, poor her. If a man is being victimized and exhibits behaviors like that, well, we have to arrest him, we have to assault him, we have to harm him. He's a detriment to society. You know, I wasn't before Natalie was killed, but I certainly am now. There isn't a person in the country that shouldn't be afraid of me. Not one. And here's why. The help that I was promised never arrived. No matter how many expensive hoops I jumped through. Meanwhile, people throw it in my face that it cost them something. It cost them something later on, when it was far, far later than just their words needing to be involved. But through all of it, it was absolutely their words that were the most important. That's why I recorded them. And that's why I posted it up. I knew how the Bollingers were going to play it. I knew how the police were going to play it. And I already know how Colorado and Nebraska use the media to harm victims. To make it so that people's guilt is assumed before they ever get a day in court. I heard what you did. No, you heard what I was accused of. Now, if you're going to make me commit those acts in order to get a court date so I can show that people are committing those acts against me in court, then God damn it, that's what I have to do. Because unlike you, unfortunate idiots who aren't experiencing it yet, your complacency, compliance, ignorance, and excuses are what's getting us killed, and it's what's going to get you killed too. The economy's fucking tanking. People have no incentive to go back to work. No, we don't want to pay for any more naval ships. What the fuck for? Who's going to protect us? Who is going to protect the American people, especially the American working class, who are the American poor? We're the ones doing all the work, and we're the ones paying for everything. And those of you who want to talk trash because I'm no longer in the workforce, bitch, what the fuck did I ever get out of being in the workforce? I never made $49,000 a year. No matter how hard I worked, people knew they could just call me mentally ill and not pay me. Or they knew that they could give my mother some cocaine and she would forget all about the incident. You guys want to talk trash like I'm crazy. No, I lived a lot of life with a lot of crazy people, and I'm not going to fucking settle for your bullshit. Do you like that? I'm not going to settle. I am too good for you. Until you can find some real morality somewhere in there. And show some real morality and some real remorse. Instead of pretending to be sorry and typing you're sorry at me, followed by a bunch of useless pretty memes that you read on fucking Facebook this week. Show that you're sorry for your actions by changing your actions. If you're sorry, you're a bad friend because you never came forward. Well, that's fine. You told me you're sorry. But it's got to be genuine, and you haven't changed your behavior. You're still hiding like a rat. You like that? Sammy Leon Lawrence IV. Black man got $95,000. Zaid Atkinson, also in Boulder County. Black man, both of them in houses. $138,000 that he got. I got $800 a month disability. When Natalie died, I got less than $700. There was no way I was going to be able to pay all the bills that I was successfully paying and still be able to eat. See, that was the problem through all of this. I didn't have a friend or family member, so I was sent to services that are supposed to help when you don't have a friend or family member. And they're not going to help unless you got a friend or family member. No matter how many times I explained to that lady the other day that I don't have a friend or family member to help me with it. No matter how many times I explained to her yesterday that I don't have a friend or family member to help with it. At the end of it all, she was like, well, don't you have a friend or do you have any friends or family that can help you? No, I don't. Lots of people have said that they would if I invest the time and money to do so, and I get there and they're fucking strung out or drunk. Like Shannon Alvarado, Brett Roloff. How about Sally Treon and her husband David? The lady they had staying there in the shed out back. How about Dallas Richmond? And although Harley Richmond didn't live there, her decisions did affect my living conditions and my living situation, as well as Dallas's. A lot of people are pissed off that I recorded the fact that I told the truth. Over $100,000 was spent by Polly Olson. Her daughter, Ashley Bauer, formerly Ashley Jeffson, formerly, well, Ashley Olson, as well as Sheriff Scott DaCosta, Dual County Treasurer, God, what is Mr. Fornander's last name? And City Council member, former Deputy Jared Hahn. They got to apportion all the money that they wanted, your taxpayer dollars, to prevent me from turning them in. You're killing my people out here. I'll not stand for it. If you want to shut me up, you're going to have to put one right here. That's what it's going to take. And you know that's a bad idea. That'll get people to actually look through what I've said and what I've shown. They'll understand quite quickly and rapidly that, yeah, my words don't come together right because I'm stressed the fuck out. They'll also see why. That I was the one stalked. That, yeah, I cursed, but I didn't start off cursing. I started off asking for help, explaining what was going on. Doing so politely and in an adult fashion. But you guys weren't okay with that. You'd rather have pedophiles running Hollywood and the United States government. Oh, Sean, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, it's proven, dipshits. It's already been proven. No more of this conspiracy theory bullshit, assholes. I'm not pretending the earth is flat. I'm not pretending this is some goddamn alien conspiracy between the greens and the blues. I'm not pretending it's some CIA brainwaves or some FBI operatives on some secret. No, it's fucking simple motivations. Simple motivations. If you're dumb enough to kill me, you'll make a martyr out of me. And that's definitely not in your favor. No, your best recourse is to look the other way and just tell people I'm crazy. Gaslighting tactics. I'm familiar with those too, bitch. Where's all the money going? Let's look at Mr. Miles, also Boulder County. His family got paid over $3 million for a false arrest. No assault, just a false arrest. How many times have I been falsely arrested? Clearview Behavioral Health was holding people longer than they were supposed to and injecting them with drugs that have been known to kill people. Tibor Hatay was murdered at Clearview. His murder covered up. Look up Clearview Behavioral Health. People are literally dying to get out of there. They're also holding people longer than they're legally allowed, so they can try to skate the system for as much Medicare and Medicaid money as possible. And I told you that. It's the same thing that Tillamook has been busted doing since I got here. You gonna fucking wait till people are dead again? You gonna wait for Lola Ty to strike again? You gonna wait for Bollinger's to strike again? You let Clearview open up. Again, same staff, different name. Oh, different ownership. Oh, somehow magically now it's a different place. Nope, same building, same location, same staff. Committing the same crimes. And in the name of Johnstown, that's right, it's not Clearview Behavioral Health, it's now Johnstown Behavioral Health. And now they're getting shut down for the same reason. You didn't want to listen to me, did you? You didn't care how many people died, did you? It was a matter of entertainment and only Natalie Bollinger mattered. Well, you should have actually paid attention, because Clearview mattered. And if you'd have listened to me, you could have saved a lot of money and a lot of lives. Boulder Police Department mattered. And you could have saved a lot of money and a lot of lives by listening to me. Maricopa, Maricopa, Arizona. The sheriff there, costing over $100 million. Well, let's see why. Because the hiring practice is nationwide. Scott DeCosta lets his rotten deputies get away. They break the law for him, he breaks the law for them. They both get to wipe their hands clean. Life is grand. All they got to do is prevent me from being able to turn them in until those officers are able to leave. How many cops had to leave Chapel, Nebraska because of me? How many cops like Cody Selhorst had to move out of Chapel, Nebraska because after committing felonies against me, he thought I was going to shut up? Once they realized that evidence was on the internet, you goddamn right they did everything they could to prevent me from turning those pieces of shit in. How expensive was it for Cody Selhorst to tuck tail and stuttering Stanley his happy ass all the way up to South Dakota to hide like a rat? Just like Waylon Lolatai left Denver for Boulder so that he could hide like a rat. Then he left Boulder for Aurora so he could hide like a rat. I'm not nearly as noisy as I could be, and remember that I am not above property damage. I don't care the cost of the property. $100, $100 million, $1 billion, I don't give two shits. I'll break it if that's what it takes to save human lives. Whether it's the back window on your Ford fucking Pinto or a brand goddamn new Maserati, if there's a baby in a black car on a hot day, no parent in sight, windows rolled up, am I gonna break the fucking window? Goddamn right I am. Do I care if it's a cop who owns that car? Nope. Do I care if it's a judge who owns that car? Nope. What do I care about? I care about that child. And any of you who want to talk trash on my decisions without taking a look at what was happening, well, you know what? It's not on me that you're helping these people to get away. That your cowardice, complacency, stupidity, laziness, and greed all get in the way. But it all comes down to one thing: cowardice. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It is standing in the face of it. I'm a mean son of a bitch. And I told you I was a mean son of a bitch. All these people who are angry at me, that knew me in person, do they remember who I used to be at all? Oh no. No, over time they forget. Out of sight, out of mind. What matters to them? That 5-second orgasm, that 10-second cookie. Whatever instant gratification they may be seeking at any given moment. To the detriment of their own society and their own well-being. Because while you look away to this happening to everyone else, eventually it's going to come back your way. And none of those people are going to be there for you. Many of you who had lots of support before Natalie was killed, you were selfish, and you stayed selfish. You remained selfish. You kept up your selfish ways. You did to others the things that you did to me. You tried to convince others not to listen to me when I told on you. And those people listened to you. And then you stabbed them in the back and they got a hold of me. You should think twice before stabbing your friends in the back. And when somebody drives 1,700 miles to get away from you, you should use your fucking brain and know well enough to leave them the fuck alone. When Sean David Schwartz drives 1,700 miles to see you because you threatened to kill yourself, and then you try to kill yourself, you don't get to play victim when he shows up. When Sean drives 1,700 miles to get away from you and your family and your stupidity and your drug habits, that's probably a good fucking cue to leave him the fuck alone. Not spread rumors of shit that never happened. Not to fucking entice people into threatening to kill his friends and family. Oh, how dare I talk to myself, right? Or talk about myself in the third person, right? That is a sign of insanity, right? No, that's a sign of detachment. Having to detach myself from the scenario. And try to have you imagine a scenario, not of it happening to me, because when it comes to me, you're not going to imagine it. You're already assuming the mentally ill thing, getting bored and not wanting to hear another word. That's because you're a fucking dipshit. Adios, dipshits. Good to be rid of you. Thank you for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and your sister's too, and no victim left behind. Not even if they're a hobo. Not even if they're mentally ill. Not even if they're a male.